Not that long ago, I made a video where I was talking about new releases from 2024 that I absolutely loved. And one of those watches that I featured on that video was the Carl F. Bucher Heritage World Timer. However, the one that I was talking about was a limited edition that they had did with Hodinkee. That edition is sold out. However, just a few days ago, Carl F. Bucher have released two new editions, one in stainless steel and one limited edition in gold. I have the stainless steel with the black dial hands on to show you guys, and I'm very excited about it because this is one of the best releases from 2024, and it's definitely the best world timer that I've seen in a few years. So let's flip the camera, let's take a look hands on at Carl F. Bucher's latest release, the Heritage World Timer. Carl F. Bucher have been around for a very long time. They started their business in 1888, and this is actually a reissue of a watch that they made a long time ago, their World Timer, and this is a Heritage World Timer, so it's a reissue of that original watch. It looks very similar. It's just a little bit of a different size, I believe. This might be just slightly larger, although this is not a very large watch. It comes in at around 38.6 millimeters on my calipers, so just about 39 millimeters, and it looks a lot like that original World Timer. This is the black dial. They're also making a silvery white dial, and then there is a limited edition gold version that they're coming out with that is limited to 88 pieces. These are very, very good looking watches. They're very vintage inspired. However, they are extremely modern at the same time because they are a Carl F. Bucher or a CFB, depends on what you want to call them. They use top of the line, state of the art movements, and they are in-house to Carl F. Bucher. In fact, this one gets one of my favorite movements that they make, the A2000. It's a chronometer certified automatic movement, but it's not just any automatic movement. It's a peripheral rotor automatic movement. And all that means is that it has a rotor that sits on the outside of the movement. So it's very difficult to make. These are extremely thin and they're very, very high end. There are very few brands who make movements like this. Carl F. Bucher are one of them. Vacheron is another. They charge a lot of money for their watches with a peripheral rotor. And Carl F. Bucher, I mean, considering what you're getting here, this is actually priced really well. I made a video just a few months ago about that Hodinkee limited edition that came out, and I said that that was a bargain. These come in at the same price. I think this is a bargain when you're talking about hot horology world timers with special functions like a peripheral rotor. There isn't much out there. This is probably the only watch that you can buy. This is a very thin watch because of it. This is around 10 millimeters thick. You're getting a box sapphire crystal. That's including that box sapphire crystal. You get a sapphire crystal on the back so you could see that beautiful movement, and it is a beautiful movement. It basically looks like a hand wound movement. That's really the point. You get to see most of the movement. It's finished very modern. This is a very modern movement and it's very thin. So that means you get a thin watch. Just about 10 millimeters thick is what I measured. I think I measured just under 10 millimeters thick. And again, that's including that box sapphire crystal. You do get a dial that has some depth to it. So that outer ring is the World Timer. So those are all the cities that are listed there. I really like the font that they used on those cities. I think it looks really good. The second layer of the dial is a little ring. It's a 24-hour track. That's the little ring that sits outside of the dial itself. The dial, the main portion of this dial, the center portion, is black, just like the rest of the dial. You have stick indices. You have two sticks at that 12 o'clock to give you some orientation. And then you have stick hands that are basically fence post hands, but they're very thin, very elegant, and very vintage looking. You also have a little cap where the second hand would be. They don't give you a second hand on here, keeping the dial extremely clean because, of course, this is a world timer. It's already pretty busy. I actually like that they removed the second hand on this watch. And again, it's in keeping with that original design. The other thing on here is the wording on the dial. It says Carl F. Bucher. At the top of the dial, you have the Carl F. Bucher logo. Right below that, it says 1888 Lucerne. At the bottom of the dial, it says chronometer. And right below that, it says 33 joules. Functionality on this watch is very simple. You have an inner rotating bezel. That is the world time. It is controlled by the crown at the 9 o'clock position. All you need to do is rotate that crown according to the city that you are currently located in. You line that up with that 24-hour ring that's in the center of the dial. You line it up to the current hour where you are located, and then you're able to tell the time in all of the cities around that 24-hour ring. So the indices line up, there's little dashes, and it tells you the time. You just read the minutes, and those are the minutes. Very, very simple, very easy to use. And then your crown right here at the 3 o'clock position, you just pull that out. There's only one position, that's to set the time. Hands down, one of my favorite parts about this watch is the bracelet. The bracelet on here is a multi-link bracelet. It has straight ends, so it looks very, very vintage. But look at this bracelet. It flows beautifully. It is beautifully made. It feels like a piece of fabric. That's how nice this bracelet is. And then of course it has a butterfly clasp. When you open that up, you could see the movement. The best part about this watch, besides it being a world timer, and I love world timers, the best part of this watch, I think, might be the movement. I really love that it's a world timer, but I really love the movement on this watch. It's so good to look at. It's just something that you want to flip over your watch constantly to look at the movement. Carl F. Bucher put a lot of work into their movements, and this is one of the best looking movements that's under $20,000. And in fact, if you want something with a movement that is actually similar to this, if you want something with a peripheral rotor, it's going to be a lot more expensive than $20,000. A few other small details besides it being very thin. You also have a very nice lug-to-lug. The lug-to-lug on this watch is around 47.5 millimeters. You also get screwed links in the bracelet. I do want to mention that. And they do offer this on a strap. However, the bracelet actually tapers as well. There's a very slight taper. It's just a few millimeters, but it makes a lot of difference. And this is essentially a mesh bracelet, I guess you could say. The fact that it does taper is really good. Price on these come in at $8,400 on the bracelet. I believe that also comes with the strap. If I'm wrong about that, I will put that down in the description. If you want it just on the strap, it's $7,900. The straps are very nice. They come with a deployant buckle. I'll throw up a picture of one of the straps. I actually have one here to show you guys. So I'll throw up a picture of this watch on the strap and the buckle, of course, which is also very nice. But I would highly recommend getting it on the bracelet because I think the bracelet is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite parts of the design of this watch, and it's a very nicely made bracelet. And there is the Carl F. Bucher Heritage World Timer on my 7.5 inch wrist. This is just under 39 millimeters. It's just under 10 millimeters thick, including the sapphire crystal front and back. And you have about a 47.5 millimeter lug to lug. This wears very comfortably on my 7.5 inch wrist. It looks so good. It looks like a vintage watch, but like I said, it is thoroughly modern with that amazing movement. And it's a watch that is going to be hard to wear and not take off and look at the movement, because the movement on this watch is gorgeous. I love that they use something that is out of the ordinary in something that's so classic looking. I just really love the combination of a modern movement with such a classic looking watch. This is something special. I think this is definitely the best world timer that I have seen in years. It's one of my favorite watches from this year. Absolutely one of the best releases from this year. And again, I just think it's so good looking. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll put a link to the Carl F. Bucher website and these watches. They're currently available. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Again, I'll put a link to Carl F. Bucher down in the description. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. Very much appreciated. That's really it, guys. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for joining me today. I will catch you guys in the next video.